What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for checking out my content. I really appreciate it. Recently, I had the privilege of interviewing the CEO of DSMTool, Kfir, to ask him a series of questions about eBay dropshipping and more specifically about VERO violations. So in this interview, Kfir is going to dive into what VERO violations are, and also is going to give us some insights on how to prevent VERO violations on your eBay dropshipping account. So I'm going to dive straight into the interview with Kfir right now.
So a lot of you guys are having problems as it relates to VERO violation, and you guys have been asking me a lot of questions about VERO violations, and some of those questions I've been able to answer for you very easily. But the best way to get you guys the information that you need is to actually bring someone who actually knows a lot about VERO violation and has the tool that you guys have been using to list your products on eBay. So on this episode, I'm bringing to you Kfir from DSMTool to talk directly to you guys about VERO violations and using DSMTool to list on eBay. So welcome, Kfir. I'm going to be handing over to you in a matter of a couple seconds so you can talk to us about VERO violations and give us your insights and give us your best ideas as to how to go about avoiding VERO violations. So once again, welcome to the channel.
Hey Kirk, thank you so much for hosting me. It's actually not once again, I think it's the first time I'm going like that on an interview on your channel, and I hope that definitely not for the last time. And I'm going to go straight to the point with that VERO problem that is a known issue for eBay sellers. And I brought with me a presentation, so I'm going to share my screen because I think that could look even better than me. So I hope that that everything works good and you can see that screen and you can see what I'm sharing. And I want to talk today about how to protect your account when it comes to VERO violations. So the subject that I'll talk about, and it's going to take all about, I don't want to say how many minutes, but it's not such a long subject to talk about. I want to talk about what is eBay VERO for those of you who might don't know what is eBay VERO. So for those of you who does know what it is, you can skip that part. And then I'm going to talk about the difference between the eBay official VERO list and what's reality and what's actually happening out there. And from what I'm saying, you can already understand that there is a problem with the official VERO list of eBay. Then I'm going to talk about how to avoid selling VERO items, and that is not oriented only for DSM users. Also, if you're dropshipping manually, you're dropshipping from wholesalers, no matter where you're dropshipping from, it's relevant for you to know. Even if you're not dropshipping on eBay and you're dropshipping on Amazon, it's still relevant because Amazon has its own restricted items and blacklisted items. And then we're going to talk about, well, I did come from DSMTool. Makes sense that I would try to promote DSMTool, and I'm going to talk about the 3 layers protection of DSMTool. Let's go right into it. So what is eBay VERO? VERO stands for Verified Right Owners, which is basically the intellectual property of the brand owner. Now, intellectual property is kind of a weird word in English in general. What does it mean, an intellectual property? So it could be the logo of the brand. It could be audio. Let's say a singer. If a singer writes a song and he writes the music for the song, that's the singer's intellectual property. The code that DSMTool, the software, is built with, that's the intellectual property of the company DSMTool. Your channel and your videos are your intellectual property. I think it depends on the agreement with YouTube, but I think it's your intellectual property. And the same way, there are brands who who own their intellectual property. Apple own all of their iPhone and all of that. And it's something that you don't want to mess with. And the reason that you don't want to mess with it is because legally it is protected by the law. So by the law, you're not allowed to violate someone's rights on his intellectual property. You're not allowed to sell Apple iPhones, and everyone knows that because that's Apple's intellectual property. The same way there are brands out there that are selling on eBay that don't want anyone to resell their products for many reasons. Maybe they made a lot of advertisements. Maybe customer service is something that is very important for those brands, and they just don't want other people to, they don't want dropshippers, for example, to sell those items. They want to completely control the supply chain from the second they manufacture it to the entire sales process. And that is what VERO is all about. There's only one problem. So you can find the list of brands that you're that are prohibited for you to sell on eBay, no matter, by the way, if you're dropshipper or not, you can buy at Walmart some of those brands, just list those items on eBay, but that would still not be allowed because of that Vero problem. There is only one problem. If you go to vero.ebay.com, you find a list. You can see it's from A to Z. There are, I don't know, maybe 2,000 brands there. But dropshippers have been reporting, since we started with our software, dropshippers have reported more and more brands that are not in that list, and they still get Vero violations for them. The reason for that is that any brand owner that can verify that he is the owner of the intellectual property can report any listing on eBay. And I'm pretty sure that it's like that also on other platforms. And even if you're selling on Shopify, they can find, if it's enough that they manage to find you, and they can sue you for using their intellectual property. But let's go back to eBay. On eBay, actually, there are many, many, many more brands that are not listed on the official Vero list that you can get restricted for. And what happens is that if you are listing Vero items, so in the beginning you will get an email that says you're not allowed to list this item. We ended the item for you from eBay. But after twice or 3 times or 5 times, no chance you get to 5 times. You're going to get a suspension for 3 days, and then you get a suspension for 7 days, and eventually your account gets completely restricted, all because you sold items that are violating the rights for intellectual property of those brands. And you want to prevent that, and the way to prevent it, basically, no matter if you're doing dropshipping with the software manually, no matter how, is that when you list an item, you usually have the brand name for that item, and you should check on vero.ebay.com if that item appears there. That would be the most sensible thing to do before you're listing an item on eBay. More than that, the list of brands on eBay official Vero list changes. New brands are joining. Maybe some brands are leaving. I don't know. I never really followed it, but that means that your existing listings are at risk. Your existing listings could be, you listed something 9 months ago. It sells great. It sells like 5 times a month, but then it becomes a Vero brand. So you should, I don't know, what I offer people that do it manually is to once a month, write yourself a task, sample your items, take 1% of your items in the store, take 10 out of the 1,000 products that you have on your store, and check their brands and compare it to the eBay Vero list, and then you will know if that you're not violating. You're just reducing a little bit the risk. The last thing is the last tip is a little bit obscure, but it's to try to avoid to listing brands. And the idea behind avoiding listing brands is that if you are listing a product that is a known brand in that category, if you are focusing on specific categories and you're listing products from those categories, you know what are the leading brands of those categories. All of the parents knows what are the leading brands for kids, for baby toys. All of the dog owners knows what are the leading brands for dog toys. Try to avoid those brands. Try to go for things that are a little bit more long tail. For example, I don't know, let's say you're drop shipping from AliExpress, Amazon, doesn't matter where. A wholesaler. If they have, unless they have a white label brand of that wholesaler and you have an agreement with them, or unless the item is on this page 60 and not page 1, it's much less likely that you will list a Vero item. Saying that, well, I didn't write all of those tips without a reason. I wrote those tips and I related them specifically to features in DSMTool. So I do want to talk about how we in DSMTool deal with Vero, and we have 3 layers protection. That's how we call it. The 3 layers protection says, first, official Vero lists are out of the game. If you are trying to list an item that is an official Vero, in the official Vero list, you're going to get this error that you can see on the screen that says, sorry, this is a Vero item. We're not allowing to list it. It's not even an option. It's just getting blocked. The second layer is what we like to call reported Veros. Reported Vero brands. So since 2.5 years, we have been asking our community. You can see on the screen that it says report Vero. So if you go on DSMTool, on the page, it's called the price monitor, At the bottom of the page, there is a red button, big red button that says report a VERO. So anyone that gets a VERO violation can report the brand name. And we have collected thousands of brand names over the past 2.5 years. And we allow the users to also block those VERO brands. So not only, what we also did is we allowed in the user settings to turn it off. So if you do have an agreement with some brand owner, you can turn this off, list that brand owner items, and then turn it on again, and you will not be exposed with other brands. So the first layer is official VERO list, and the second layer is reported VERO brands that are getting the same error. If you set it up in the settings and by default it's set like that, you're just not going to be able to list those items, not in single list and not when you list a bulk of items. The third layer is something new, and the reason that we started to go out with all this VERO content is a new scanner that we launched that scans your account every 24 hours. Remember that I said that you could have listed an item 9 months ago and now it suddenly became in the VERO list. Or let's say someone reported that as a VERO. That means that brand owner is looking for other people that are selling that product. So what we did is we developed a scanner that checks all of your items, all of your store. It goes item by item and check the brand name and compares it to the official VERO list and the reported VERO list. And if it does find brands, it puts an alert in your dashboard. And then within one click of a button, it filters those items for you and it shows you all those items and allows you to take an immediate action. My suggestion is always end those items as soon as possible. In the future, we're also going to allow to do it completely automatically. So if we find a VERO brand, it is automatically being delisted from your store. One last small tip that is something that if you're using the DSM tool for Chrome extension, once you're sourcing your products, you can actually find not in all of the source websites, but if the supplier website, like this is a picture from Amazon, if the supplier does show the brand name in the page, we have the ability to mark that item as VERO already when you're collecting the item, like when you're collecting items with the DSM tool for Chrome extension, which means that first, for those of you who are using that to collect items, you could find in some of the suppliers or some of the websites, you could find those marks of VERO items. And if you are using some supplier that is now newly supported, because we are supporting more and more suppliers this year, and you do find the brand name in the page, you can always report it to us, and we will add VERO marks on the supplier website if you're using the Chrome extension, which is a great way to avoid it already and not even waste your time on trying to source products that are VERO violations. So anything else that you guys would want to talk about, VERO or not VERO, drop us a message. I'm gonna close the presentation now and keep some time for questions and answers.
Okay, wonderful presentation. Definitely clears up some of the misconceptions out there about VERO, and it actually gave me some more knowledge about VERO that I didn't originally have. That feature though that DSM tool has, where it has the 3 layers that helps you with VERO, is very cool. I've been using it and it's very, very nice to have. But I do have some questions for you. These are some FAQs that I've gotten from some of my viewers. So I'm just passing these questions on to you and hopefully you can answer them for us. So the first question that I want to ask you is DSM tool able to identify all products that violate VERO rules?
All right. The ultimate question about VERO is always, how can I completely prevent violating VERO? And unfortunately, the answer is that nobody in the world, no software in the world, I don't think that even eBay is able to tell you in advance what are going to be all the VERO items. And the reason for that is because if you list a brand and that brand until last week didn't care about other people listing its product, and now suddenly decided it cares, they hire a lawyer. Literally, there are lawyers who are doing that. They would hire a lawyer, and that lawyer would fill a form on eBay that says this listing ID violates my rights for my intellectual property right, and eBay would then suddenly have to take an action. And if the brand owner is able to prove that it's his brand, then, well, there is nothing to do and nobody can tell it in advance. So the answer is no. It's not a 100% sealed solution, but it is a good 95%. Isn't that an awesome way to reduce risk?
Of course, that's great. Which leads me into another question. I know you made mention in the presentation about avoiding known brands. So what I wanted to ask you, which is another frequently asked question, is, are there certain categories that you'd recommend that people avoid totally when dropshipping on eBay? Like, what are some of the categories that you'd find most of these VERO products in?
All right, I'll tell you what, I would elaborate on that white label thing. It's something that actually I just recently heard. I can't even remember on which YouTube channel. And when we are adding now more and more suppliers, hopefully within 2019 we'll have more than 50 suppliers supported in DSMTool. And in those suppliers, what you would want to look for is hopefully white labeled brands by that supplier. Walmart, for example, when doing dropshipping from Walmart to Amazon, a known thing to do is first to go for Walmart private labeled brands. I can't remember which brands from Walmart are private labeled, but if you Google like Walmart private label brands or white label brands, you would actually find a Wikipedia article that lists all of those brands from Walmart. And then there is a higher chance, again, I don't really have any statistics. I'm just saying what like everyone are saying. I've never tested it myself, but I know that it's working. So any supplier that you're starting to work with, check if they manufacture some kind of white label brand of themselves. They would want to reach out. I am assuming that they would mind less. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's really hard to tell. But like, if you think about it, if you go to Walmart and they make like their own Walmart manufactured product, they're usually going for like the more low cost products, and they try to compete with other brands that are already existing. The other brands are the ones that I would try to avoid, while the white labeled ones manufactured by the retailer are the ones that I think are a little bit more safe. But again, it's very hard to tell. I'm like, who am I to tell you what to avoid and what not to avoid? Like, we divided that tool just to reduce the risk.
Excellent answer. Okay. So one more question before I go. This is something that's a hot topic. It has been for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks now. And this is about, I'm sure you were not expecting this question, but this is about the new eBay dropshipping policies and accounts getting suspended and banned. Elaborate.
All right.
What's your take?
So I will elaborate on that. It's a very, very important question strategically for the dropshipping communities, definitely strategically for a software that is promoting dropshipping on eBay. So okay, here's the full honest answer. eBay, by its policy, does not allow to do dropshipping from retailers anymore. Anyone else that would tell you that they might be allowing to do that would lie, including me. I cannot say that they allow to do dropshipping from retailers. When I'm looking into that aspect of how, there are a lot of theories about how do they mark you as a dropshipper, and I can list 10 ways for them to mark you as a dropshipper. They know it's either the item location, which, it's a little bit different issue of the item location policy. People have been getting emails about violating item location policy, and then they got maybe restricted for that. And some say that it might be related to the titles of the items, because they know that eBay knows that it's the same title from Amazon. And eBay since 2 years has been, if you follow their eBay seller updates, they've been creating a catalog. They're going towards a more Amazon-like user experience, when instead of searching for an item, you see a list of sellers. You search for an item and you see one item, and then you see the list of sellers inside the item trying to fight. It's called the buy box in Amazon, and that's the same direction, the general direction that eBay go towards. And by the way, which you can totally drop ship and make great earnings with that method as well. And long story short, what I think and my personal opinion is that eBay is sending all of us a message. They're saying to us, guys, all of you that are doing dropshipping, some of you at least, are hurting the buyer experience on eBay, because buyer experience is the #1 most important thing for eBay. If you are giving any kind of bad experience, and there are a million things, you can be new to dropshipping, you can be, there is a known phenomena of dropshippers that cannot fulfill the order, and then instead of taking responsibility for what happened, they decide to manipulate the buyer in order to cancel the order on his side in order not to hurt their seller rankings, instead of trying to build a sustainable business where you're looking for, things like product descriptions that are wrong. If you're listing a bulk of thousands of items every day, expecting that you will have no issues with any kind of items, if you're thinking that working 1 hour a day is what's going to give you financial freedom, let me tell you that if 1 hour a day could give you financial freedom, I would work 1 hour a day, and not me and Kirk. Do you work 1 hour a day? I don't think so. None
Definitely
of us.
Not.
You are building a business, and when you're building a dropshipping business, you should think sustainable. And therefore, what I think that everyone, all of us, the dropshipping community, need to start thinking is about the buyer experience on eBay. Do I have clear answers? Did I say anything that is specific? Do I know how to save everyone's accounts? I have no idea. We are in DSMTool are working very hard this year to expand both the amount of suppliers that we have. We're going to support not only eBay, but I'm not yet allowed to talk about it, in order to allow you as dropshippers to expand your business and to build a sustainable business. And if you are dropshipping on eBay, it doesn't matter where you're dropshipping from. Before anything, before trying to hide all your information, before trying to do all of that, stop for a second and ask yourself, what level of buyer experience am I providing to my buyers, to my business customers? It's your business, it's your customers, not eBay's customers, it's your customers. What level of service am I giving to them, and how can I improve it? And you know what? Maybe I'll manage to follow up on that very soon with some more practical, very specific solutions that were tested. I hope so, and I'll come back with specific answers. But to say that buyer experience, that's my main point.
Okay, thank you so much. Those are the only 3 questions I'm going to be asking you today. So I'm very happy that you actually agreed to get on and talk about how to protect your account from VERO violations. Information was very clear, and I just want to say we really do appreciate it on behalf of the community. So thank you once again for joining me. I'm really looking forward to having you on the channel at a later date, of course, to give us more insights about what your thoughts are about dropshipping. And I would love to hear about the other suppliers and other forms of dropshipping that DSM will be supporting in the very near future. All right, so thank you so much. And guys, don't forget to check out the links in the description. You can find DSM's channel. If you guys want to hear more about dropshipping from their side, make sure you check out their channel, like and subscribe, and follow them as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.
Okay guys, so that was the interview I did with Kfir from DSMTool. I really hope you found some value in this video, and if you did, I would really love to hear from you. So let me know in the comment section what you thought, and if you like this video, drop a like on this video. It definitely helps me out a lot. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.